tape number LA 15, dated February 8, 1970. Krishna, chapter 72, continued. In that great meeting, consisting of all respectable persons, citizens, friends, relatives, brāhmaṇas, sages, the kṣatriyas, vaiśyas, and the brothers of King Yudhiṣṭhira, he addressed Lord Kṛṣṇa directly in the presence of all and began to say as follows: My dear Lord Kṛṣṇa, the sacrifice known as Rājasūya-yajña is performed by the emperor and is considered to be the king of all sacrifices. I wish to satisfy all the demigods who are your empowered representatives within this material world by performing this Rājasūya sacrifice, and I wish that you may kindly help me in this great adventure so that it may be very successfully executed. So far, we the Pāṇḍavas are concerned, we have nothing to ask from the demigods. We are personally fully satisfied by becoming your devotees, as it is said by you in the Bhagavad-gītā, that persons who are very much bewildered by material desires go to worship the demigods. But our purpose is different. I want to perform this Rājasūya sacrifice and invite the demigods to show that they have no independent existence or power. All of them are your servants, and you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Foolish persons with poor fund of knowledge consider your Lordship as ordinary human beings. As such, sometimes they try to find fault in you, and sometimes they defame you. Therefore, on the ground of sacrificing this Rājasūya-yajña, I wish to invite all the demigods, beginning from Lord Brahmā, Lord Śiva, and other exalted chiefs of the heavenly planets, and in that great assembly of demigods from all parts of the universe, I want to substantiate that you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead and everyone is your servant. My dear Lord, anyone who is constantly in Krishna consciousness and thinks of your lotus feet or of your shoes certainly becomes freed from all contamination of material life. Such persons who are engaged in your service in full Krishna consciousness or meditate on you only or offers prayers unto you are all purified souls. Such person, being constantly engaged in Krishna consciousness service, becomes freed from the cycle of repeated birth and death, or even they do not want to become freed from this material existence and desires for material opulences, their desires also fulfilled by such Krishna consciousness activities. In fact, those who are pure devotees of your lotus feet, they have no desire for material opulences. And so far we are concerned, we are fully surrendered unto your lotus feet. And by your grace, we are fortunate to see you personally. Therefore, naturally, we have no desire for material opulences. The verdict of the Vedic wisdom is that you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I want to establish this fact, and also I want to show to the world what are the differences between accepting you, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or accepting you as ordinary, powerful historical person. I wish to show to the world that simply by taking shelter of the lotus feet, one can attain the highest perfection of life, exactly like watering the root of the tree. One can satisfy the branches, twigs, leaves and flowers of the whole tree. By this example, one can take to Krishna consciousness, and thus his life becomes fulfilled both materially and spiritually. This successful termination of the life of Krishna conscious person does not mean that you are partial to the Krishna conscious person and you are indifferent to non-Krishna conscious person. Actually, you are equal to everyone. That is your declaration, because you cannot be partial to somebody and not interested in others, because you are sitting in everyone's heart as the super soul and giving them respective result of their fruitive activity to give every living entity the chance of enjoying this material world as he wants to do. As super soul, you are sitting along with the living entity in the same body just to give him results of his own action, as well as trying to give him opportunities to turn towards your devotional service by developing Krishna consciousness. You openly declare that one should surrender unto you, giving up all other engagements, and you take charge of him, giving him relief from all sinful actions. But still, the living entity remains attached to material activities and suffers or enjoys the resultant action without your interference. You are like the desired tree in the heavenly planets, which awards benediction according to the desiring person. Everyone is free to achieve the highest perfection if he so desires. But if he does not so desire, then awarding of different benediction from your side is not your partiality. Next, on hearing the statement of King Yudhiṣṭhira, Lord Kṛṣṇa replied as follows, within quotation, my dear King Yudhiṣṭhira, the killer of enemies, the ideal personified justice and religion, your decision to perform the Rājasūya sacrifice is completely supported by me. By performing this great sacrifice, your good name in the history of human civilization will remain well established forever. My dear King, I may inform you that performance of this sacrifice by you is the intention of all great sages, your forefathers, the demigods, your relatives and friends, including myself, and what to speak of us, I think every living entity will be satisfied by this performance of Rājasūya sacrifice. But as it is needed, I request you, first of all, you conquer over all the kings of the world and collect all requisite paraphernalia for executing this great sacrifice. My dear King Yudhiṣṭhira, your four brothers, direct representatives of the important demigods like Varuna, Indra, etc. Within brackets, it is said that Bhima was born of the demigod Varuna, and Arjuna was born of the demigod Indra, whereas King Yudhiṣṭhira himself was born of the demigod Yamaraj. Bracket close. As such, all your brothers are great heroes, and so far you are concerned, you are the most pious and self-controlled king, and therefore you are known as Dharmaraj. All of you are so qualified in devotional service unto me that automatically I have become pliable by you. Quotation close. Next paragraph. Lord Kṛṣṇa said to King Yudhiṣṭhira in this connection that he becomes conquered by somebody who has conquered over his senses, and one who has not conquered over his senses cannot conquer over the Supreme Personality of Godhead by love. This is the secret of devotional service. To conquer over the senses means to engage them constantly in the service of the Lord. All the brothers of the Pāṇḍavas, their specific qualification was that they always engage their senses in the service of the Lord. One who thus engages his senses in the service of the Lord becomes purified, and by such purified senses one can actually render service to the Lord. And the Lord thus can be conquered by the devotee by loving transcendental service. Next paragraph. Lord Kṛṣṇa continued to say, within quotation, there is nobody in the three worlds within the universe, including the powerful demigods, who can surpass my devotees in 6 opulences, namely wealth, strength, reputation, beauty, knowledge, and renunciation. As such, if you want to conquer over the worldly kings, there is no possibility of their becoming victorious over you. Quotation close. Next paragraph. The king Yudhiṣṭhira, thus being encouraged by Lord Kṛṣṇa, his face became brightened as a blooming flower on account of transcendental happiness, and thus he ordered his younger brothers to conquer over all the worldly kings in all directions. Thusly, Lord Kṛṣṇa empowered the Pāṇḍavas to execute the great mission of the Lord. The mission of the Lord is to chastise the infidel miscreants of this world and to give protection to the faithful devotees of the Lord. The Lord, therefore, in his Vishnu form, carries 2 kinds of weapons. In 2 hands, he carries the lotus flower and conch shell, and the other 2 hands, he carries a club and the disc. The club and the disc is meant for the infidel miscreants and demons, and the lotus flower and conch shell is meant for the devotees. But the Lord being the Supreme Absolute, the resultant action of all these weapons are one and the same. By the club and disc, he chastises the miscreants to come to their senses that the demons are not all in all. Over them there is the Supreme Lord. And by bugling the conch shell and by blessings of the lotus flower, he always assures the devotee that nobody can vanquish them even in the greatest calamity. King Yudhiṣṭhira, thus being assured by the indication of Lord Kṛṣṇa, ordered his youngest brother Sahadeva to conquer over the southern countries, accompanied by soldiers belonging to the Śiva tribe. Similarly, he ordered to conquer over the kings of western side, accompanied by soldiers of the Matsya Desha. He sent Arjuna to conquer over the kings on the northern side, accompanied by the soldiers of Koikaya. And Bhimsen was ordered to conquer over the kings in the eastern side, accompanied by the soldiers of Madra Desha, within parentheses, Madras. Next paragraph. It may be noted in this connection that King Yudhiṣṭhira dispatched his younger brothers to conquer over different directions, was not actually meant for declaring war with them. Practically, they started for different directions to inform the respective royal orders about the intention of King Yudhiṣṭhira to perform the Rājasūya sacrifice. The respective kings were thus being informed, were required to pay taxes for executing the sacrifice. This payment of taxes to the Emperor Yudhiṣṭhira means that the king accepts the subjugation of King Yudhiṣṭhira. In case of their refusal to act accordingly, there was certainly fight. Thus, all the brothers, by their influence and strength, conquered over all the kings in different directions, and they were able to bring sufficient amount of taxes and presentation given by the conquered king, and all of them were brought before King Yudhiṣṭhira by his brothers. But at the same time, King Yudhiṣṭhira was very much anxious when he heard that only the king Jarasandha of Magad did not accept the suzerainty of King Yudhiṣṭhira. When King Yudhiṣṭhira was too much anxious, Lord Kṛṣṇa informed him about the process explained by Uddhava in the matter of conquering over King Jarasandha. After this, Bhimsen, Arjuna, and Lord Kṛṣṇa, three together, started for Giribraja, capital city of Jarasandha, dressing themselves in the garb of a Brahmin. This was already planned by Uddhava before Lord Kṛṣṇa starting for Hastinapur. Now it was given a practical shape. Next paragraph. The king Jarasandha was a very beautiful householder, and he had a great respect for the Brahmins. Jarasandha was a great fighter, kṣatriya king, but he was never neglectful about Vedic injunctions. According to Vedic injunctions, the Brahmins are considered to be the spiritual master of all other castes, namely the kṣatriyas, the vaiśyas, and the Sudras. Therefore, King Jarasandha, being a faithful householder, he used to respect the Brahmins as a faithful followers of Vedic injunctions. Lord Kṛṣṇa, Arjuna, and Bhimsen, they were actually kṣatriyas, but they covered themselves like Brahmin, and at the particular time when King Jarasandha used to give in charity to the Brahmins or receive them as guests, at that time all of them approached the king in the dress of Brahmins. Thus Lord Kṛṣṇa, in the dress of a Brahmin, said to the king, within quotation, "We wish all glories to your majesty. We are 3 guests at your royal palace, and we are coming from a great distant place. Certainly, we have come to you for asking you for some charity, and we hope whatever we shall ask from you, you will kindly bestow upon us. We know about your good qualities, and a person who is tolerant is always prepared to tolerate everything, even though distressful. Similarly, a devout can perform the most abominable acts. Similarly, a great charitable person like you can give anything and everything if he is asked for such donation. Especially for a great personality like you, there is no distinction between relatives and outsiders. A famous man lives forever, even after his death. Therefore, any person who is able to execute such acts which may perpetuate his good name and fame, in spite of being completely able and fit to act like that, if one does not do so, then he becomes abominable in the eyes of great persons. In fact, any amount of condemnation for such person is not sufficient. Such person is lamentable throughout his whole life. Your Majesty must have heard the glorious names of such charitable personalities like Harishchandra, Rantide Mudgal, who used to live only on grains picked up from the paddy fields, and the great king Maharaj Śiva, who saved the life of a pigeon by supplying flesh from his personal body, and thus all these great personalities have attained immortal name and fame simply by sacrificing this temporary perishable body. Lord Kṛṣṇa, in the garb of a Brahmin, thus convinced Jarasandha that name and fame is imperishable, but this body is perishable. So, if one can attain imperishable name and fame by sacrificing this perishable body, he becomes very much respectable in the history of human civilization. Next paragraph. When Lord Kṛṣṇa was speaking like this in the garb of a Brahmin, Jarasandha marked in all 3 of them that they did not appear to be actually Brahmins. There were signs in their body which Jarasandha could understand that they are kṣatriyas, because he marked on their shoulders the impression of carrying bows, their beautiful structure of body, grave commanding voice, which were certainly not the signs of a Brahmin. Thus, he definitely concluded that all 3 of them were not Brahmins, but they were kṣatriyas. Besides this, he was thinking within his mind that he saw all of them somewhere, some time ago. Now he began to think that all these 3 persons, although they are kṣatriyas, still they have come to his door for begging alms like a Brahman. Therefore, in spite of their being kṣatriyas, he would fulfill their desires. He thought that their position has already been diminished because they had appeared before them as beggars. Under the circumstances, I am prepared to give them anything. And even though they may ask for my body, I shall not hesitate to offer them. This connection, he began to think of King Bali Maharaj. Before him, Lord Vishnu appeared in the days of a Brahmin for begging, and in that way he snatched away all the opulence and kingdom from Bali Maharaj, although he did it for benefit of Indra, who was bereft of his kingdom, being defeated by Bali Maharaj. Practically, Bali Maharaj was cheated, but still his good name as a great devotee and a great person who could give anything and everything in charity is still being glorified in the three worlds. King Bali Maharaj could guess it, that the Brahmin was Lord Vishnu himself, and he came to him just to take away his kingdom opulences on account of Indra. His spiritual master and family priest, Shukracharya, did regularly warn him about this, and still he did not hesitate to give in charity whatever the Brahmin wanted. And at last he gave up everything to that Brahmin. It is my strong determination that if I can achieve some immortal reputation by sacrificing this perishable body, I must act for that purpose. Actually, a Kshatriya who does not live for the benefit of the Brahmins is certainly condemned by his life. Present clause. Next paragraph. Actually, King Jarasandha was very much liberal in giving charity to the Brahmins, and thus he informed Lord Kṛṣṇa in the dress of a Brahmin, followed by Bhima and Arjuna. In the same way, he addressed them, my dear Brahmins, you can ask from me whatever you like. If you so desire, you can take my head also. I am prepared to give you. Quotation close. After this, Lord Kṛṣṇa began to address King Jarasandha as follows, within quotation. My dear king, please note it that we are not actually Brahmins, and neither we have come to you for asking from you some foodstuff or grains. We are all kṣatriyas, and we have come to you for begging from you a duel fight. Hope you will agree to this proposal. You may know from me that here is the second son of King Pandu, Bhimsen, and the third son of Pandu, Arjuna. And so far I am concerned, you may know that I am your old enemy, Krishna, the cousin brother of these Pāṇḍavas. Quotation close. When Lord Kṛṣṇa disclosed the whole covering of their being dressed as Brahmin, King Jarasandha, after hearing his statement, began to laugh very loudly. And then, in great anger and great voice, he exclaimed, you all fools, if you wanted to fight with me, I immediately grant your begging. But Krishna, I know you are a coward. I deny to fight with you because you become very much confused when you face fighting with me. And out of your fear of me, you left your own place, Mathura, and now you have taken shelter within the sea for living. Therefore, I must refuse to fight with you. So far, Arjuna is concerned, I don't think that he is a great fighter compatible with me. No, Arjuna is younger than me, and he is not an equal fighter for me. I refuse to fight with him because he is not in any way an equal competitor. So far Bhimsen is concerned, I think he is an equal competitor to fight with me. Present close. After speaking like that, King Jarasandha immediately delivered a very heavy club to Bhimsen, and he himself also took another, and thus all of them went out of the city walls for a veritable fight. Now both Bhimsen and King Jarasandha engaged themselves in severe fight, and with their respective clubs, which were as strong as the thunderbolt, they began to strike one another very severely, just both of them being mad after fighting. Both of them were expert fighters in clubs, and their varieties of devices to strike one another became so beautiful as if two dramatic artists were displaying their fighting dance on a theatrical stage. When the two clubs of Jarasandha and Bhimsen respectively collided with great sound, it appeared that two elephants were fighting and their big tusks were being entrapped with a smashing sound, or the sound appeared to be like thunderbolt in the flashing of electricity. When two elephants fight in the sugarcane field, each of them snatches a sugarcane and by catching it tight by the trunk, strikes over one another. That time the sugarcane becomes smashed by such heavy striking. Similarly, when Bhimsen and Jarasandha, each was striking against another by the club and on different parts of the body, namely on the shoulder, on the arms, on the collarbone, on the chest, on the thighs, on the waist, on the leg. In this way, by such striking, both the clubs became torn into pieces. In this way, all the clubs used by Jarasandha and Bhimsen became spoiled, and then both of them prepared for fighting with the strong fists of their hands. Both of them were very angry, and thus both of them began to smash the other by such box fighting. The striking of the fist upon another appeared to be striking of iron bars. The box fighting appeared to be like two elephants fighting with one another, and the splashing sound of slaps upon one another resembled the roaring sound of thunderbolt. But fortunately or unfortunately, nobody appeared to be defeated, because both of them were very, very expert in fighting with clubs. Both of them were of equal strength, and their fighting devices were also equal. As such, none of them became fatigued or defeated in such fighting. Although both of them used to strike the other continually during the fight, there was no symptom of being defeated by any one of them. At the end of day's fighting, both of them used to live as friends in the palace of Jarasandha at night, and next day they would again fight. In this way, both of them passed clear 27 days in that way of fighting. On the 28th day, Bhimsen frankly admitted that Jarasandha could not be defeated by him. Within quotation, "My dear Krishna, I must frankly admit that I cannot conquer over Jarasandha." Quotation close. Lord Kṛṣṇa knew the mystery of the birth of Jarasandha, that he was born in two parts from two mothers, and his father, seeing the baby useless in two parts, called for one black-eyed witch of the name Jara, and she managed to join the two parts of the baby from top to bottom. As such, Lord Kṛṣṇa also knew how to kill him. He gave hints to Bhimsen that as Jarasandha was brought into life consciousness by joining two parts of the body, similarly he could be killed also by separating the same two parts. Thus Lord Kṛṣṇa transferred his power into the body of Bhimsen and informed him about the device how Jarasandha could be killed. Lord Kṛṣṇa immediately picked up a twig of a tree and taking it in his hand, bifurcated it into two pieces. In this way, he gave hints to Bhimsen how Jarasandha could be killed. Lord Kṛṣṇa, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is omnipotent, and if he wants to kill somebody, nobody can be saved. Similarly, if he wants to save somebody, nobody can kill him. Now Bhimsen became aware, directly and indirectly, about the hints of Lord Kṛṣṇa, and immediately he took hold of the legs of Jarasandha and got him down on the floor. When Jarasandha fell down on the ground, Bhimsen immediately pressed one of his legs on the ground and he took hold of the other leg by his two hands. When he caught up Jarasandha in this way, immediately he bifurcated Jarasandha's body into two, beginning from the anus up to the head. As an elephant separates the branch of a tree into two, similarly, Bhimsen also separated the body of Jarasandha. All the audience standing nearby saw that the body of Jarasandha was now divided into two parts, and each part, one leg, one thigh, one part of the testicle, breast, backbone, chest, collarbone, arms, eye, face, and the ear became separated. As soon as the news of Jarasandha's death was announced, all the citizens of Magad began to cry, "Alas, alas!" While Lord Kṛṣṇa and Arjuna embraced Bhimsen to congratulate him in that victory. Although Jarasandha was killed in this way, either Krishna or the two Pāṇḍava brothers never claimed on the throne. The purpose of killing Jarasandha was stop him creating disturbance in the proper discharge of world peace. Demon always creates disturbances, while a demigod always tries to keep peace in the world. The mission of Lord Kṛṣṇa is to give protection to the righteous person and to kill the demon disturbing the peaceful situation. Therefore, Lord Kṛṣṇa immediately called for the son of Jarasandha, whose name was Sahadeva, and in due ritualistic ceremony, he asked him to occupy the seat of his father and reign over the kingdom peacefully. Lord Kṛṣṇa is the master of the whole cosmic creation, and he wants that everyone should live peacefully to execute Krishna consciousness. After this, he immediately released all the kings and princes who were imprisoned by Jarasandha unnecessarily. That ends the Bhakti-Vedanta purport of 72nd chapter, Krishna, entitled as Liberation of King Jarasandha.